Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of ZB's Horsepower Talk. As always, I'm ZB, Zack Brown, and joining with me, as always, is former 410 Sprint Car crew chief and mechanic, my dad, Jeff Brown. We have concluded the biggest weekend in motorsports between the Indy 500 and the Coca Cola 600, which actually Ross Chastain called it the World 600. So maybe we'll get back to doing that. We'll talk about that in a second. Spectacular events. Coke 600 delivered for 400 laps. That was an incredible race. The atmosphere was amazing. It was a beautiful night for racing as I was out and about working that day too. And the Indianapolis 500, first time winner. We did call, I'd called it. I knew it was going to be a first time winner, but Alex Palou gets a big win in the Indianapolis 500 first oval win, and is the biggest oval win of his career. So let's dive right in, talk about the Indianapolis 500, and we'll talk about the doubleheader too with Kyle Larson. Obviously, the way he did not want to happen, it's memorable in probably the worst way. Pretty much put a damper in all of his expectations for running the double ever again in the future. It's almost like it was never meant to be. He was not going to be able to finish the Indianapolis 500. Uh, the
No.
the way I think it ended after 4:30, he would have had to leave right after 4 o'clock. It was not going to be able to happen. Unfortunately, it just wasn't meant to be for him. Crashed on lap 92, and just wasn't meant to be for him. But how about Alex Palou, the championship favorite, the back-to-back champion, going to be three in a row now
Yeah.
champion? He just an incredible race, and they strategized it just perfectly, and he would have won it regardless because Ericsson got disqualified.
Yeah.
Perfect race for him. He was where he needed to be at the end. He made the moves at the right time. Didn't wait till it was too late, and he used lap cars to advantage. So congrats, Alex Palou, the fastest car in the entire series this year. Well deserved to win the Indianapolis 500.
Yeah. The whole Indy 500 race, that whole thing was weird. Here we had Scott McLaughlin crashing under pace lap. Just, I got on the track was just a little tiny bit wet. I mean, nobody else crashed. We've had cars on fire, crew members on fire. We had, uh, the uh, the pole sitter plows into the pit wall. It's just some weird stuff happened at Indy this year. And Kyle Larson actually started passing cars, and then he had such a run, and I think he jammed on the brakes and downshifted. And I guess you don't do that in an Indy car, and just got loose, and that was the end of it. But like you said, unless they could have worked something where he would have missed the drivers' meeting and started in the rear, yeah, he wasn't going to make it. They said he had to be out there by like 4 o'clock or just after 4 o'clock, and rain delay and lots of cautions, and just a strange race for the Indy 500 for sure.
But it sums up the entire month for the Indianapolis 500. Everything was weird leading up to that. Crashes happening in practice on carb day, disqualifications happening. Just weird. Just overall very weird. Lap one was weird. Crashed right away. And
Yeah,
uh, with Marco Andretti getting involved with a bunch of other drivers in the back, just one of the strangest Indianapolis 500. Still an amazing spectacle. I don't remember those damn helicopters flying around the track
I don't
on the
remember
pace
that because
lap.
we would have probably had a picture of that.
That was freaking awesome. I remember them flying around, but not like that. That was really freaking cool. Just what an awesome event. And like I said, just I mean, hats off to Palou and that entire crew. I mean, you could see the emotion that he had with it. It was well deserved. I mean, getting a first oval win and coming at the Indianapolis 500 doesn't really get much better than that. Uh, They were joking after the at the Indianapolis 500 banquet that I think it was Scott Dixon saying, "Yeah, I'm going to send you on vacation for the next 5 weeks with your family, all inclusive. It's on me, no big deal." And they went back to say, "Well, he still probably have the championship lead after all that." It's
One neat thing, his daughter looked like she was about two or so. She was drinking milk in Victory Lane too, out of the jugs. That was pretty cool.
well, he one thing he did say it was the sweetest milk he's ever had. He's like, "I don't know what they put in it or whatever it is." He's like, "That was delicious," and it probably helps that you're exhausted, want something good and quenching before
Yeah, for
work.
sure.
And but yeah, that was just a cool event, and it sucks we couldn't have made it. But we would have blamed the rain on ourselves again if we went there. It would, but
Yeah.
so it wasn't us. It wasn't just us.
Well, it was weird. There was one tiny little cell that kept showing up right over the track. There was no other rain in Indiana anywhere.
Yeah. Well, let's head over to the Charlotte race, the Coke 600 or the World 600, whichever you are, if you're a traditionalist or a modern day NASCAR
Yeah.
enthusiast. Ross Chastain, first driver in 50 or 60 years to start dead last and win the race.
Yeah.
He uh, battled Byron at the very end of the race. Byron was the fastest car between him and Denny. Chastain comes out of nowhere, and that race was really good. I wish it was not broken down into stages. The the stages were it was fun, but it just kind of takes out the strategy of everything with fuel mileage and all that. That track is amazing to race, and it's incredible to see the drivers to race on that because it's so worn and it's so bumpy. 600 miles doing that. I mean, I guarantee their backs hurt after that. Uh,
Yeah.
but Chastain and Byron going just battling it out. Byron I think he hit the wall, and Chastain was able to get by him, and he never let up the lead. And just an incredible finish to the a great day of racing. But Byron leading 284 laps, just coming up short once again. It definitely sucked for him. Feel you feel for him, but that's Ross Chastain's first crown jewel race, and I expect him to get a lot more. That was a very popular win. A lot of people like to see the watermelon
Yeah.
smash after that. I mean, Ross Chastain is no NASCAR doesn't like him, and a lot of drivers don't like him, but he's really a fan's
He's got a
driver.
good personality for sure.
Well, he's a blue collar worker. He came from
Yeah.
working the fields of a watermelon farm, and that's really what he is at heart. And yeah, I mean, just incredible race. He didn't wreck anybody. He didn't like he's been known to do before, is hit him and take him out of the race. I mean, it was as good as you could get. I mean, he was just methodically making his way up the field and getting that win. Byron nearly got a double header win between Xfinity and Cup Series. Dominated the Xfinity Series, won all the stages, uh, and he nearly swept all the stages in the Cup race. Just came a little bit short. Uh, Kyle Larson's day in that one comes up short. That was not meant to be. He spun
No.
out on his own, which I mean that was lap
Leading.
43.
Yeah.
You can get that sorted out. But as he was starting to make up ground, like he was the Indianapolis 500. People crashed in front of him, and he was just an innocent bystander in that, and that was it.
Yeah. That was tough. But yeah, just out in front leading, he was one of the best cars, at least early anyway. You got into, like you said, it's bumpy. You hit that bump just the wrong way, that back end comes around. There's no saving that once it goes. And like he didn't hit anything. Went through the grass, maybe knocked the rear toe out a little bit. I don't think it was too bad. They kept working on it, and he was up. I don't know, somewhere when he got into that crash, somewhere around 15th place, I
Yeah, he was
think.
about to be in the top 15, and yeah, he was just there's nowhere he
Yeah,
could go.
after the crash, he wasn't going to win, but he could have got a top 10 out of it, probably.
Probably after the first spin. Yeah, I think he was
He
fast
had
enough.
good pit stall, so that pit stops would have helped and everything like that. So
Yeah, I mean he looked really good in the beginning, and it just kind of lost it. But that I think they were set up to make a good run when the lights came on and the sun went down. The car was really loose, but the track really came into its own, and you could really race anywhere you wanted. But the high line was the preferred line,
yeah,
but I mean as
that's
bumpy
also
as
where all
that
the
was,
bumps are.
that those it was incredible. So they had a lot of in-car camera footage of Denny Hamlin and how much it was bumping, and he's just like you could tell it's gonna be. I guarantee their lower backs were killing them after that
Yeah, they
race.
were actually talking to Christopher Bell early under the pace laps, and you could see the camera shaking from the bumps, and he was even commenting how
Well,
bumpy it is.
let's talk about real quick before we get into the previewing Nashville this week. How incredible was the race coverage for Prime? Everybody liked it. The broadcast team was phenomenal. The garage team, the pit road team, the production, it was way better than any
Yeah,
NASCAR one I have seen in a long time, probably since ESPN, honestly. And it was fantastic. They were able to you could really hear the engines roll on the cars during the race. No commercials unless it was a caution. They had side by side, and they
yeah,
already said that's going to be permanent for Prime. They're going to always have, if it's green flag laps, it's going to be a side by side commercial type thing, so you don't miss anything. And if it's a caution, nobody cares. They go to commercial. Who cares if it's that? That was great. And the way everybody's been raving about this, the ratings going up, you're going to see a lot more streaming platforms come onto the NASCAR circuit. You probably see Netflix try to get involved. They're getting involved with the NFL. They have the Netflix documentary with NASCAR with 2 seasons already. Would not surprise me if they do a live event in the near future for NASCAR. People are complaining about it being on Prime Video. Hey, it's $7 to pay to watch it and for a month. So
Yeah, I mean, otherwise it's on FS1, it's on paid cable TV anyway. So, and honestly, how many people actually have paid cable anymore? More people probably have Prime.
I haven't seen the numbers for that. I did see the numbers for the Indianapolis 500, and that at its peak there were 8 million viewers of that
Wow.
since 2008 or something like that. I'm
But it was
sure
good to see Danielle Trotta back.
she did
She's
phenomenal.
good. And
Carl
Carl
Edwards,
Edwards was good.
Corey LaJoy was phenomenal.
Yeah, Corey LaJoy was really good.
Yeah, and in the booth was fantastic too. You actually got excited because Junior's always excited.
Junior's always excited.
Yeah, and Latart, I always like Latart. Sometimes he gets a little too excited. I was like, all right, tone it down a little bit, Latart. But he does a really good job in the booth, especially figuring out the intricacies of the cars and letting you know, hey, this is the strategy they're playing out, and this is what's going on with the car. Um, I think it was awesome, and they only have 5 races. You're going to see them get more next year.
Probably.
It's already a home run. As big as that was, Amazon's sparing no expense because I mean they can.
Right.
Uh, and the drone footage was amazing. They had more drones than I've ever seen at a broadcast race. That was great. It was just good. It was just a great broadcast race, and the help the race was pretty good too.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes it better if it had been a stinker of a show where somebody was out to a 10-second lead the whole time, might not have been as good. But yeah, pretty happy with the broadcast. And just back on that, so we had Indy 500 on Fox. So they're in the side by side. If you're on side by side and something happens, get off the commercial and come back because there was a crash or the fire. I don't remember which one it was, but there was 10 more commercials before they came back, and then they had to go to their full screen logo and start talking about like, oh yeah, by the way, something happened here, and it's like, what the hell?
Yeah. Well, Frontier's second race this weekend, and they're going to Nashville. And this has been an incredible race the last few years. Uh, I wish it was the night race again. The night race
It is. It starts at 6:30.
on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So it's a
So it's evening race anyway.
okay. Well, oh, that's good then. Nashville concrete track, and one of the few concrete tracks they have, and it'll definitely be smoother than what we saw at Charlotte. I think it won't have as many bumps because that was.
Maybe concrete can be a little rough.
I still don't think it'll be anything compared to what we saw at Charlotte. But Nashville, with its revitalization, you might eventually see Nashville Fairgrounds get involved again before sooner than later. Hopefully, at least maybe with the Truck Series and kind of progressing to that. But I love Nashville Superspeedway. Trophy's one of the coolest that they have on the circuit. Should be another good one with this Generation 7 car.
Yeah, it's sort of similar, going to be similar speeds to what we had here, and the cars just race on these right now. They race pretty good on these tracks, so hopefully they get the tire wear just right. That's what makes it exciting when you have drop off and then some strategy comes in. The guys that get tires early, maybe make up a couple seconds on the other guys just for strategy. It makes it kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. It'll be good. Especially with now knowing that's the evening race, that's going to be even more. That adds just another element to it. Kind of like how Charlotte was. If you're good at the beginning, you have to keep adjusting to the track and keep working to get it right to be there at the end. But this race a lot shorter. You only have 400 miles to really work with.
Yeah.
So a mistake in the beginning can be detrimental for the entire day. Um, but let's give our NASCAR fantasy lineups for Nashville, and let's see what we got this week. You absolutely dominated last week,
And I don't know how.
that was an ass kicking of epic proportions that you put on us, and
Yeah,
that I
so
don't think
that
that's ever
that means
happened.
this week I'm screwed. I don't do
Well,
too well.
I have to change up some this week. Luckily, I put Larson in the garage. I was able to keep him away from my lineup. I don't have him in here this week. Use him down the road a little bit heading into the summer. But my starting lineup for NASCAR at Nashville, I have Alex Bowman, Ryan Preece, Ryan Blaney, Carson Hocevar. That poor guy just needs to have some luck on his side. He's been running so well. And Ross Chastain. And in my garage, I have William Byron. And they have Ross Chastain versus Chase Elliott. I have Chastain over Chase Elliott. Got to go with the momentum right now, even though Chase did have a solid top 10 finish. Ryan Blaney versus Chris Buescher. I have Ryan Blaney on that one. He's in my lineup. Let's go with him. Ryan Preece over Zane Smith, which that makes you want to think: Are they expecting Zane to have a good race randomly
Yeah, I don't
in the
know.
lineup? But I have Ryan Preece in that one, and Joey Logano versus Tyler Reddick. Joey had a very lackluster performance at the Coke 600, very surprisingly. I'm going with Tyler Reddick on this one.
Okay. Well, we're quite a bit different this week, so
I
this works out
figured
good.
I was kind of changing it up completely on this one.
So this week in my starters, I have Kyle Larson, William Byron, Chase Briscoe, Chris Buescher, Carson Hocevar. Sorry, Carson, we just screwed you over big
I
time.
don't know if that could have really happened. He's had the worst luck regardless.
And in my garage, and this guy's been surprisingly on the bigger tracks, I have AJ Allmendinger in my garage. So in my matchups, I have Chase Elliott over Ross Chastain, Chris Buescher over Ryan Blaney, Ryan Preece over Zane Smith, and Tyler Reddick over Joey Logano.
Well, one of us can make up ground here. Hopefully, I can make up ground on you this week. I mean, that's different as you can get. Probably the most different we've ever been. Great bets this week. Kyle Larson, of course, he's won how many Nashville races? He's top 10 in all of his Nashville race, and he's also had he was a winner in 2021 when he went on to win his championship. The hot pick is Denny Hamlin. Avoid Alex Bowman. Cool. Got him in my lineup. Avoid Brad Keselowski, and the sleeper is AJ Allmendinger.
Which Brad had a good run last week. It was
Top
nice to
five.
see.
Top
Yeah.
five. Yep. Yep. That was definitely good for him to do that. So let's give our race winning picks for Nashville this week. All right. So I don't really know how I want to go about this. It's hard to pinpoint somebody. I'm not jinxing Larson. I guess I'm not picking him. But I've got this guy in my garage. Probably will end up putting him in the race at some point. Finished second at the Coke 600. Just so heartbreaking for him. Expect him to come out and have a little bit of fire under his butt right now. William Byron for Nashville.
Okay. My pick's going to be, I think he's in the hot picks down there. I don't have that one up. So I got Denny Hamlin to win this one. Mom's pick's Ryan Blaney. She figures sooner or later he's bound to not suck.
Well, now that she picked him, he probably will. And I'm pretty much out of the running for the championship, I think, until it
Yeah, I
resets.
whooped everybody and still 60 points behind her.
Let's see. What's the standings? Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I'm like 200 points behind. Hey, yeah, you're still 60 points behind. I'm like over
Yeah.
120 points behind you. Yeah, just fun times. I want to go over the Bob Weicker Memorial. Fantastic weekend. The posse really showed up, especially night one. Well, the Pennsylvania guys, Brent Marks. I mean, yeah, technically high limit, but I mean that's
He's from Pennsylvania. He's still a posse car.
yeah. But the biggest surprise for both nights, Lance DeWeese getting on the podium 2 nights in a row,
Yeah.
and
Lance was
he had a
good.
real shot.
I was rooting for old Lance.
He had a shot at the $100,000 one. He really did. Uh, Aaron Reitzel started up front. Really, if you started up front on especially night two, you were likely going to have a solid finish.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
Macri had him passed, and then the caution of the red came out, and that was it. If that would have went green, they weren't going to catch
I was
Macri
really
either.
impressed with how McRae was running the bottom.
Yeah, he looked good.
Yeah, he
That's not in his wheelhouse. You expect Lance to be good down there, in which he was.
Lance was, but Lance actually was running more of a middle groove, especially
Yeah.
3 and 4. I mean, that's just kind of where that's where the
Sometimes you got to go
car
where
was
they're
heading.
not.
Ryan Smith had a couple solid nights too. Um,
Yeah.
it was it was pretty good racing. Aaron Rice has been really good this year in high limit though.
And
He's had a
he's really good at
good
Port
year.
Royal too. That's his second big win there. I think he won the Weicker before,
Hmm.
if I
Either
remember a
that or
couple of years
Tuscarora,
ago.
one of the
So
two.
yeah, he
Yeah,
won Tuscarora 50 or one of them. So
and
he
and
gets
what
around
a
that track, but the track was in great shape. Crowd
well
was huge.
we always talk about Attica being a giant dust bowl, but freaking Port on that Sunday was the dustiest I think I've seen that in a while. Uh, don't
Well,
really.
it's they had rain Friday and they actually canceled it, and it looks like they left the track hard just in case they got any more rain because it was pretty slow in warm-ups and everything on Saturday.
But it came in. It definitely came in, and
Yeah.
it put on good
But it was
races.
the same the whole width of the track. So I mean it was,
Yeah,
the cushion was the whole way up against the wall. So you weren't going to lean on that. You had to be way up there. So if you could get it handling on the bottom, you could be pretty good.
and you saw a couple outlaw guys come in there to race. I mean, it was 100,000 to win, and they only had to
Yeah.
come from Ohio. So,
Yeah.
um,
Which you were speaking of Attica, that wasn't, like the track looked pretty good this time. Looks like they had some water on. That was a good race, the outlaw race
yeah, it's
between Carson Macedo and
Schuhart.
no, who got second? I don't know if he's a local guy, Cole Duncan,
Oh, that sounds
the
familiar.
number
That sounds
22
familiar.
car. He had a shot the whole race. It was
Um, Another successful Bob Weicker Memorial. That was awesome that they were able to, with that cancellation on Friday, bump up the purses for Saturday and Sunday especially going $100,000. That's unheard of at Port Royal.
yeah, that's the biggest payday in Pennsylvania history. So that's pretty awesome.
Well, now Williams Grove is going to be like, all right, well, I guess we have to try to
Don't
up
bet on
this.
it.
Well, if they can ever get a race in.
Yeah.
Well, when Port
Which
canceled,
randomly, and this is what sucks. They had Williams Grove did race Friday night, and they had a pretty good car count, but it was the Chris and Darren Eash tribute race, and it's kind of a shame they scheduled that against the Weichert Memorial because I
yeah.
mean Chris and Darren, I got to work with both those guys, and you couldn't have a nicer family. And it would have been better to see a better race for that one with more of the better cars being there and everything like that. So that was kind of a shame. But I mean, I guess they did have a pretty good turnout and a pretty decent race. So
Well, I guess it worked out this time because the Weichert was canceled Friday, so it worked in the favor. But yeah, it should never be scheduled on a massive day like that. It should be a whole different week and have its own thing.
yeah, they
Um,
could literally pick any other weekend when there's nothing else different going on. Williams Grove has an outlaw show. Port Royal cancel. They could have not been dicks on that one, being that there's a big race up at Port Royal that weekend. They could have had just 358s and Sportsmans or something like that running.
well, to wrap things up today. We will be heading to Iowa the end of the week
Yeah,
and seeing your brother, Davey Brown Jr., get inducted to the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. A long time coming. Hopefully, we'll be able to just get some content there, at least from the museum, and get to see around that whole facility and just see the
yeah. I've
history.
never been. I'm anxious to see that.
Yep, and it actually gets inducted on Pop's birthday, so
Yeah,
that's really cool to see. Awesome banquet scheduled for Saturday afternoon. It's definitely really cool to. It'll be really cool to see all that. Todd Schaefer's getting inducted too. We'll like I guess I assume he's going. I'll likely see him out there.
yeah.
I'll
Don
see.
Ott.
Yep. So a lot of people you've run into in
Oh
your
yeah,
career and Pop too, and um, Pop's supposed to be there, so that's really cool to have him go out there. He hasn't. I don't think he's been to Knoxville since he's been inducted. I don't think he went to the Nationals that one time.
yeah. He was out there when Lance was out there running.
Oh, he was.
Yep, he went out.
Okay. All right. Well, it'll be really cool. It's I'm yeah, definitely anxious to see it. Really cool for the family to have this moment
Oh
and
yeah,
have another one inducted to the Hall of Fame. So people don't realize how much of a prestigious honor it is, and if you want to go back and check out our interview with the director Bob Baker on that from last year, it really is a such a prestigious place. And there's a lot that goes into nominating and selecting the Hall of Fame classes year in, year out. It is, and it goes throughout the entire world at this point. And
Yeah.
he mentions that. So check that out and kind of get an idea. And we'll actually get to meet him in person. So that'll be really cool. Yeah. Hopefully you're ready for your, I assume you're giving some sort of speech or something.
Well, Dawn said Dad might do it, so I was like, if Dad wants to do it, he'd go ahead and do it.
That would be, well, somebody's going to have to record that because he doesn't give speeches often.
No, no, I don't
Shoot, did
know
he
if he
even,
knows. I don't know if he knows he's supposed to talk or not. So that may end up changing.
shoot, did he even give a speech when he got it?
I don't know. We weren't. No, we weren't there.
Oh, that's right. That's when mom
Yeah,
was
mom was not doing well, and we just couldn't go.
yeah. Yeah, he's not known for speeches
No, no, he
at
don't.
all.
He don't like the talk. He doesn't like the recognition. Yeah, he does like it, but he don't want to admit he likes it.
He just doesn't like to talk in front of people.
Yeah.
But if you get him talking about a story, he'll go like, especially talking to us, he'll go down a whole
Oh
rabbit
yeah.
hole and he'll keep on it. Um, I think that'll be really cool for him too. I wonder, has he even gotten to see around the museum?
I don't know if he's actually ever been in it or not. So this will be pretty cool. I can't wait to see it. That's going to be really really cool. Yeah, like I said, hopefully we can get some video footage and some things like that and put up for the Hall of Fame. I'm very excited to go see this. I haven't been back. Well, it was since before Dad was inducted, so it's been a long, long time since I've been to Knoxville. And I guess we're all going to probably go to the race. They have the USAC sprints and I think their local 410 race Saturday night. So we're invited back for the race then. So we'll go, check that out and watch it from the Hall of Fame suites. That would be pretty cool.
I don't know if I'd rather see a sweet race or just be actually on pit road with the cars. I feel like
Well, we don't know anybody there
I don't care.
other than my unofficial cousin Brian Brown because he calls Dad Uncle Davey, so that makes us unofficial cousins.
No, but still, everybody always talks about, oh, the sweets are great. I'm like, yeah, but I'd rather be right beside a car that's just freaking 950 horsepower and just rolling.
Well, I'm not saying we can't go in there, so I'm assuming we can probably get in there and
Especially
check
with
it
Pop's credentials, we could probably get in there almost anywhere we want. He's kind of like royalty out there.
So if any local 410 guys are racing out there, you guys need some help, let us know. We got the heavy hitters coming out this weekend.
I can lift things up and put them down. You need some help with tires and stuff, I
We can
got
scrape
you.
mud like nobody's business.
Well, I can lift the tires, and I still could probably remember the mountain dismount tires. But yeah, it'll be really cool, and looking forward to it. It'll be really cool to honor. I don't remember Davey because I was
No, you were just young.
past. So that's really that'll be really cool. Just kind of see people talk about it and go down memory lane. And I haven't really and to kind of experience his accomplishments through other people that I haven't really gotten to see. You can read about it, but it's going to be cool that people in person will actually talk about it. So that'll be cool. And I think there's actually going to be a stream somewhere. It wouldn't surprise me if Flow Racing has some sort of stream because they have a big article on the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame.
Okay, that'd be cool.
I'm sure something somewhere would probably pop up. I'm I'm gonna try to record as much as I can if they allow it, at least the acceptance speech, to at least save it for my personal stuff, and release it as well for everybody to see. So I think that does it for this week, guys. We will try to get some content and catch you guys from Iowa at the end of the week, and we'll be back in action on a regular show again next week. So we will see you then.
All right. Bye, everybody.